Hello and welcome to my Monday musings. Alright, there isn't really any news today, although it kind of does relate to what I've been, well, what's been quite apparent lately. So, I mean, if I was to give you some news, I'm still busy with the Candle Magic book and video course. But it might be a bit longer than I expected to get completed because other things get in the way, obviously. Have to make money to pay the bills, pay the rent, and such things. And that's why I actually want to talk about this today. So, if you have ever gone into Robert Cochrane's witchcraft, and we did do a bit of a series on the Cochrane letters on Black Hat Chat several months ago, which you might find interesting. But if you go into the Cochrane letters, especially those to Joe Wilson, you'll find the Witch's Law, which was coined by Robert Cochrane. And one of the laws in there is do not do what you desire, do what is necessary. And this comes into morals and ethics. Well, ethics really. Let's actually define the difference between morals and ethics. So when we're looking at morals, we're kind of looking at the rules or laws of society, those things which are common to a community. Whereas ethics are more personal, and I think everybody's ethics kind of get a little bit different here and there. They are personal, as I said, so you have to expect that. But do what is necessary. What does this really mean? We'll find in various different traditions and paths and such things that we have different rules or laws that we abide by. If you are Wiccan, you may abide by the threefold law and the harm none. Even in discussions regarding harm none, we find that a lot of people differ in their interpretation of that. Some people are very kind of, it has to be absolute harm none. This gets a bit difficult because even if you drink some water or eat a slice of bread or something, in some sense you are harming something. There's particular bacteria and things in those items that you take into your body and you probably destroy. But a lot of people will get to that level where, when they say harm none, they really, really do mean harm none. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you go into Buddhist practices, a lot of Buddhist teachings and practices will revolve around this idea of not harming anything, even if it's an ant. They all have their place in this world, so we shouldn't really be harming them. And if we consider the idea that we're all one, we are all part of the same energy flow, then really by harming anything, you are inadvertently harming yourself. So this whole idea becomes, the debates get quite heated sometimes, but I think it's important to discuss it, mostly so that you can ascertain or get a fix on what your own ethics are going to be. And working out your own ethics are very, very important. Now, there is one rule that I do like to follow, and it's one that I read on Full Hindsight years ago when that was still up, and it was an article from a chaos magician, and it basically said, if you cannot stand up in front of your friends and family and tell them what you did, or tell them what you're planning on doing, don't do it. Which is quite a good rule to live by. I mean, there are some things you're obviously not going to tell your friends and family, but then you probably wouldn't do them. But it is a good rule, because if it is something that, a curse or something like that, that you are going to do, if you can't admit that you did it, you're embarrassed to tell people, then you probably shouldn't have done it in the first place, because you're not willing to pay the coin. And that's the whole thing here, is paying the coin. And that's where we come back to do what is necessary. Now, when we talk about do what is necessary, the whole thing is do not do what you desire, do what is necessary. Desire is something which you often don't put a lot of forethought into, obviously depending on what it is, but there's a lot of things that we desire, that we desire in our lives, that we desire to do, and it's just because it will make us feel better. And sometimes those things are not things that we should be doing. They're not beneficial to us, and therefore we have to pay the coin. And this is why we do what is necessary. And when we are doing what is necessary, what we're really talking about is, are you willing to pay the coin for what you're about to do? Now, this obviously breaks away from the harm none rule in many ways, because if you are somebody who has a starving child, and this is a typical example, if you have a starving child and you are jobless and you need to get them a loaf of bread so that they can eat, but you don't have the money for it, you may go into a shop and you'll steal a loaf of bread. And now that's considered morally wrong because it's a crime. So in society sees it as a crime, and therefore if you get caught, you're going to have to pay the coin. You may get arrested for whatever it is, but is your child fed? And that is necessary. It's necessary to feed your child, and therefore you do it. If you are going to curse somebody, I've seen it a lot of times. A lot of people get annoyed with a workmate or somebody they work with, because they're just irritating. They're in their face the whole time. They are constantly nattering about them behind their back. They're just a plain annoyance in your life, and you want to get rid of them. And people will go to extremes when they consider what they want to do to this person. And when I say extremes, I mean literally extremes. They will do curses which will destroy their life. That's not necessary. Whatever you do, you're going to get something come back on you. It's just cause and effect. Really is as simple as that. It's got nothing to do with this neo-pagan or New Age idea of karma. It really is just simply cause and effect. If you throw a stone at a wall, it may rebound and hit you or hit somebody else. It's cause and effect. You threw a stone, you created something, and that cause resulted in an effect, and that was it rebounded and hit you in the head. It's just simple laws of nature, really. So whatever you do, there's going to be some kind of coin to pay, and sometimes that coin is okay. You can take it, it's fine. It doesn't really bother you. But if it's something severe, like it will cause you to get arrested, or something bad, something detrimental could happen to you, you have to consider, is it worth paying the coin? And then you consider if it's necessary or not. Another example would be if you are trying to protect somebody from a rapist. Then you may end up beating that rapist to an inch of his life or her life, or even killing the person. And was it necessary? Yes, probably was. But at the same time, you're going to have to pay the coin. So just bear that in mind every time you consider doing something, whatever it is. Are you willing to pay the coin, and is it necessary to do this thing in order to get the results you need, or the results that are necessary? And yeah, that's really it. I'll leave you with that to think about and mull over. My Monday musings. Right. And I'll see you in the Ask Lee section. Alright, have a good one for now. Cheers. Bye bye.